Hi, good evening, morning, wherever you are, afternoon. Welcome to lecture 5 in our series. I remind anybody who hasn't seen the first lectures in order, you should do that because you won't quite understand what's going on. We finished up last time talking about the Sea of King Solomon and about the line that goes around the circumference. And we talked about the system called the normal value, misba regali in Hebrew, the regular value, but I was going to show you this time how I borrowed it from Hebrew into English. So, what is that system? That system is you take the letter A equals 1, B equals 2, and you get to J, which is 10, and then you go up in tens. 20, K is 20, L is 30, and you get to S, which is 100, and T is 200, until you get to Z, which will give you 800. So that's the system. I used to call it the decimal system. In Hebrew, it goes from Aleph to Taf, which is, Aleph is 1, Taf is 400. There are 5 final letters, the 5 letters in Hebrew that when they come at the end of a word, they take a different form. And they can take two values. The tzadi, for example, is 90, and the final tzadi can be 90 as well, or it can be 900, because you can put the letters at the end, these 5 final letters at the end of the alphabet, the alphabet. And so it goes from 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900, and you get up to 900. English gets to 800. So with that system, we can look at the word line. Now, I mentioned that the line, the word kav in Hebrew, kav that goes around, well, since when does the line go around? We don't have a word in Hebrew for circumference, so it's called a line. But lines are straight. But we'll see, that's not quite right. Line, L is 30, I is 9, N takes 50. Right? L, M is 40, N is 50. And these 5, these are the normal values. And that will give you 94, which are called NV. So now we've had the PV values, the placement values. We've had the LV values, the large values. We've added those two together, and we've had the whole values. And now we've got the NV values, the normal values. So, does a line go around anything? Well, let's take the word arc. Arc is a curve. A is 1, R is 90, and C is 3, is 94. So, line and arc have the same normal value of 94. It sounds a little bit like Einstein's theory of relativity, the warping of space, that lines don't go in a straight line really. They're all really part of a circle. They might look like a straight line, but they might be part of a very gigantic circle. You can't prove a line is straight. You can only talk about a degree of accuracy. It might be just a curve, an arc. So even light doesn't travel on a straight line. We know that. That's Einstein's theory of general relativity. So there may not be anything called a line in reality. So it has the same value as arc. Another example of a normal value, I came across this when I was looking at salt, that it's cubic, and I decided to play with the colour. Salt is white, so I thought, is there a connection? Can I show there to be a connection? And this is what I'm doing all the time in Gematria. I'm showing connections. Because if there is a connection, then it's like, that proves it. That's its real energy. That's what it is. It has a connection to this or this and this. It could be a person who invented something, and there's a mathematical connection between what he invents and his name, or his name and the book that he writes. So all sorts of mathematical connections come out like this. So we'll look at white. W-H-I-T-E, and we'll work out the normal value. W is 500, H is 8, I is 9, T is 200, and E is 5. Add that together, you'll find that it's 722, and V, normal value. If I use salt, I won't get that value. I get 100 plus 1 plus 30 plus 200, which is 331. That's where I got the idea of 4, because salt comes in cubes, and each side is a square with 4 sides. This is NV, normal value. Okay? And if you take the word 4, its large value is 331. And you see I've got a bit of a crossover here, and this is something which I find quite often, that systems can interrelate with each other. They don't have to be the same system. But however, since I'm teaching you about the normal value, I'm going to use the same system for salt. Well, I've used it for the word salt and it didn't work. But salt has a chemical name. It's called sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. Now if we use the normal value, S is 100, 60, 4, 9, U is 300, M is 40. Over here we get 3 is C, H is 8, 30, 60, 90, 9, 4 and 5. And I'll let you add that up with a calculator if you want, and you'll find that it's 722, which is the same value as white. So I've got a connection between sodium chloride and its colour. I have a book, I haven't quite finished it. Probably won't be too long before I do, because I think I've looked at as many white things as there are with the animals like polar bear, birds like the swan, the moon, milk, teeth. They're not always white, but pretty close. Bone. From minerals, I started with salt, to plant life, flowers, various flowers that are white flowers, and animal, and even to the moon, to planets. So I've shown that all these things that are white are connected in some way to the word white, either in English or in Hebrew. So quite complex, but it takes a bit of understanding what's going on, but there's this connection in Gematria. It's rather like an energy. Numbers, if you can, we teach in Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, the concept of vessels and light, that everything exists in the world, the universe, is light within vessels, or souls within bodies, energy within matter. It's all the same concept. And the numbers therefore take the idea of energy, and the letters are the form, the matter. And just like energy can take on different types of energies, you've got sound energy, you've got heat energy, you've got motion energy, you've got potential energy, you've got various sorts of energy, and they can be transformed from one to another. You can use heat energy to create motion, you can create heat energy from motion, one to the other. So they're all interrelated. Another way of looking at this is like the electron energy levels within an atom. Have you ever done a bit of chemistry or physics? You know that they often talk about the energy levels, the different levels and an electron becomes excited, it goes up to one level and it comes back down again and it emits some radiation. So we can see this to be different levels of energy. Something which I'll talk more about perhaps another time. Okay, so we've seen the normal value. I'm going to show you one or two interesting interrelations between Hebrew and English now. In a book which I've written on the caduceus, this is a book called Caduceus, I start off about the connection between the staff of Moses and the serpent. And he does a bit of a magic trick. He drops his staff on the ground. God tells him to drop it on the ground and it becomes a serpent. How does it do that? So let's look at the inner energy connection. We'll look at the Hebrew for his staff. His staff is called a mater. In Hebrew it's spelled mem, tet, hey. It's a mater. If I take those letters and I write what the names are in English, so we have a mem, and I'm using the traditional classical Hebrew grammar books, something like Wine Green, which I studied years ago, and the letters, the way they spell the letters. Tet is spelled T-E-T-H, teth, and hey is spelled H-E. Mem, tet, hey. If I work out the placement value for all these, then M is 13, 26 plus 5 is 31, T is 20, 40, 45, plus 8, 45, 53. Then hey is 8 and 5, which is 13. 3 and 3 and 1 is 7. 3, 5 is 8, 9. So I've taken the English names of the Hebrew letters and I got 97. Now I shall write out the word serpent. And if I work out the placement, that's a PV by the way, that's the placement, and this will also be a placement value. S is 19, 5, 18, etc. And I will get, you can check it out, I'll get 97. So we can see the transformation of the matter via the English into a serpent. We could do this in another way. I'm just going to make sure I get this one right. We're now going to spell these three Hebrew letters using the Hebrew spelling of the letters. The mem is spelled mem, mem, mem. The tet is spelled tet, yud, taf. And the hey is spelled hey, aleph. There's actually three ways of spelling hey, hey yud or hey hey. But this is the normal way of doing it. So we've got three ways of spelling these three letters that we've written in Hebrew now. What we're going to do is we're going to now borrow the English system of large values into the Hebrew. So mem is the 14th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Rather like M in English is the, sorry, not the 14th, 13th. Like English is M is the 13th, so mem, me, is also the 13th, and 13 is 99. That's the large values. So if I was going to work out the large value of mem, I'll have 99 plus 99, because I've got two mems. This is the final mem, this is the normal mem, so mem is 99, and mem is 99. Because mem can take in the value of 24, because you can stick that at the end, it has another option of a large value. But we're just using the straightforward, mem is 13, 13, and 13 and 13 is 99 and 99. Come to tet, yud, taf. Tet is the 9th letter, and 9 is 42. Yud is the 10th letter, and 10 is 39. And taf is 22, taf is 22, and 22 is 165. These are the same large values as in English. And I've just borrowed them over into Hebrew. Hey, hey, the letter hey is the 5th letter, and 5 is 42, and Aleph is 1, it's the first letter, and 1 is 34. I haven't added these up yet. So that's 2, 11, 16. I've got 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 6 is 13, plus 1 is 14, and I've got 1 and 1 is 2. Now I'm going to add this as just 76. If I add these together, says me, just checking it up, 34, 26, 46, I haven't added that yet, that's why the number's missing. 99 is 18, 99 is 18 and 19, so it's 198. Right, now I've got the three numbers. Okay, add that to that. That's wrong somewhere. So we've got 8, we've got 6 and 6 is 12, plus 8 is 20, 2 down. 9 and 4 is 13, plus 7 is 22. And then we've got 1 plus 2 is 3, 4, 5. So now I've got 520 to be the large value of Mem Tet He, Matter, the staff of Moses. Now I'm going to take serpent and I'm going to work out the normal value. So now I've got 100, S is 100, 5, R is 90, P is 70, E is 5, N is 50, and T is 200. And if I add that together, woe and behold, I get 520. In other words, I've got two ways by which Moses converts his staff into a serpent. Well, could be a bit of hocus pocus, a bit of magic, abracadabra, throw the staff down, and some sort of strange thing goes on. Did he know English? English wasn't around at that time. So, what's going on here? Is there a true conversion here? Is this really revealing some sort of inner mechanism of transformation? Is English as we have it today a language which had to develop into what it was, into what it is? It went through Chaucerian language, Shakespeare, read Shakespeare, a lot of words that we don't say these words. And Chaucer, it's like another language. English has developed over the years, and we've got this language now that reveals and is connected to so many things in Hebrew. Let me just give you one last thing to finish on this subject of Hebrew and English, because I get asked quite a bit as to, how can English have any significance? It's not divine language, it's not in the Bible, it's, as we said, it's so modern, yet it's quite universal. It's becoming probably more known than Chinese. Is it Mandarin, the correct word? So English is very popular, basically because of the computer and the internet. I thought about whether the Bible sort of prophesies about the language of English. And I was reading the end of the book of Daniel, the last chapter 12, and the very end, where God tells Daniel to go to the end, and he'll rise up in the Kates Yam in the end of days. So I had in Hebrew his name, Daniel. That's the Hebrew. Daled, Nun, Yud, Aleph, Lamed. You can always go on Wikipedia or any site and find the Hebrew letters, the alphabet, we call it the alphabet, the Hebrew letters, and get a bit more familiar with their sounds. This is a Daled. There's some similarity between English and Hebrew. Alpha, Aleph is A, and you got B, and you got Beit. I'm writing Hebrew backwards because actually Hebrew goes this way, and English goes that way. You've got C, is not the same because that's a Gimel, the third letter is a Gimel. And then you get a D and a Dalet, so that's similar. And there's similarities between the Greek, because that would be delta. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. There's a gamma, gimel, in Hebrew, and Greek is similar. Okay, that's another subject on its own. If we look at the word Daniel, if we read it in the English way, from the Lamed to the Nun, and I'm going to write those letters out in the Hebrew direction, which is from right to left, and then we read it from the Dalet to the Nun. So we've gone the Lamed to the Nun, this is the English way, left to right, this is the Hebrew way, and I'll get Dalet Nun. I put a final Nun there, I put a final Nun there as well, because that's as it appears at the end. I just do that naturally because it's a Nun, comes at the end, it's just a long straight line. So, what does this read? This, if I put the vowels on, this will become Lion, Lion, and this could be, there are no vowels in the scriptures, you have to put the vowels on. So you could put all sorts of vowels in, but dun, din, don, this is den, because I want to show that it spells lion, den, lion den. And that's what Daniel, that's probably one of his highlights of his life, that he goes into a lion's den and he's not eaten alive by these lions. So we've actually got the English hidden in his name. And it's in Daniel that we talk about the end of days. And that's where we are now. We're in the end of days. A lot of what I write in my books is about the Messiah, the coming, the end, final end of days. There's not a final end of days. It means I've got a blog where I show how Ketzer Yamim, as mentioned in Daniel, the end of days, Ketzer Yamim, is connected to the end of the Mayan calendar. The end of the Mayan calendar isn't the end, it's the end of an era. But it's, from then on, it's a new era. It's the beginning of a whole new episode in the existence of mankind. 2012, December, I think it was the 21st, is the beginning of a new, you could call it a new age, a new time, where evil is just bubbling up now to really try its last petty and pathetic attempt at destroying good. And we'll see more of that. The healing crisis that a person can go through if you ever go on a fast, you feel worse before you feel better. And that's what's going to happen. We've gone through our end mark, we've entered into this new place, new time, we're now on the way to true peace. So, thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon. This was lecture 5, and there's a few more to come, maybe a lot more to come, and I hope you're enjoying them. Please give me a like and make a comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. You'll find lots of other slideshows there on using, not me talking about, they are PowerPoint slideshows. There's over 50 there. You'll find the leap year there with other things which are connected to that idea of a year, and you'll find the one on reflection there. You'll find one on the tefillin, which has the example which I showed on the board in lecture 2, and lots of other things there. So do have a browse and look, and let me know what you think. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.